in Texas in the justice system, and I swear by it, try 'em and fry 'em. In Texas, it's 7 years on death row is the average, compared to us, which is eternity. 64 is the one measure, so I'm voting no on 62, yes on 66. So we get rid of some of those regulations and force a quickening of the appeal pace. Proposition 64 is one that presents to my conservatarian views.
Where's 63?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, 63. I know you're in favor of 63. This is the California Safety for All Act. Everybody, anybody here oppose the California Safety for All Act? This is the one that takes away the ammunition from your gun. The only ones who become safe out of this are the criminals. This is Gavin Newsom's. Do I need to say more? 63 is a no. But again, just like the English Proficiency Act, this is another one of the joke on the California voters, calling it the California Safety for All Act. If you're a criminal, it's safety for all of you. For the rest of us, I just saw a story for the 17th straight month. The nation has broken a record for 17 straight months for the number of guns sold in this country. And in California, by the end of this year, from January 1st to December 31st, 2016, over 1 million guns will be sold in California. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of those guns were sold to people in this room. Just as an aside, I have some good friends in the CRA, ladies in the 70s and 80s. When I go to a meeting and they're there, I always feel safe because they have a little pistol in their purse and they are ready, willing, and able. Okay, Proposition 64 is legalize marijuana. Gee, I have the notes in front of me. Proposition 64 is the one that gives me concern and conflict as a conservative versus being a libertarian. This is the legalization of marijuana. I had the opportunity in mid-August to visit in Denver while going to Denver for a school choice bloggers conference. I had the opportunity of visiting, and it was legal, the Mile High marijuana dispensary right off the freeway at the entrance to Denver. It's like going into a wine shop, you know, where they have the wines of Sonoma and the wines of SLO and the wines of Santa Barbara and the wines of France, you know, all these different countries and states and cities and all the different types of wines you could imagine. In this case, it was all the different types of pot that you could imagine. And they also had the gummy bears that were infused with marijuana, and Alice B. Toklas brownies for sale there, and all sorts of food stuff. If you didn't want to smoke it, just wanted to eat, they had something for you to eat that had marijuana in it. It's like a supermarket of pot. The sales tax in Colorado on buying pot is 25%. There are cities in California that have already passed ordinances that if the regulation, if legalized marijuana passes, their charges are going to be 20% sales tax. Some cities are at 15% and some just added 10% to it. So if you have a 8% sales tax and you're buying marijuana in that city or county, it will be 18% and added 10% to it. The question, of course, is what is the revenues versus the societal cost of more driving under the influence, more medical care, more emotional care. But I have a theory, and I know how we could win the state of California for Trump. And we could win it big. All we have to do on Saturday night before the election is throw the biggest pot party anyone's ever seen, keep the pot party going to 8 o'clock on Tuesday the 8th. They'll forget about the election. And that's another way I'm going to make money out of the concession to sell that. And we'll call it medical marijuana. Make it legal. And so what we have with the marijuana thing is a conflict of hypocrisy. The people who support Prop 56 and those who don't want you to smoke, don't want you to smoke Camels and Marlboros. Why? Because they cause cancer. Did you know that pot, marijuana, is more toxic than a cigarette? And you can get cancer quicker if you're a pothead? So on one hand, they don't want you to get pot from Marlboros. I mean, they don't want you to get cancer from Marlboros, but they'd love you to get it from the Mendocino Special. So there's a little hypocrisy in all this. But then what do you expect from the left? They can't be very consistent in their thoughts. I'm going to vote no on legalized marijuana, not because...
That's 65?
64. Not because I don't want to legalize marijuana, it's because it's already legal. When we passed Proposition 47, in 2014, we legalized marijuana. And even though Dawn Ortiz-Legg got arrested, which she kind of forgot about for having marijuana, in today's world, they took up with her instead of arresting her. Because it's not illegal now what she did then. And quite frankly, it's all over. If I wanted to, give me 15 minutes, I would bring back enough pot for all of you. Because it's all over this town, whether you like it or not. It is here, and it's legal. I do a lot of work in Madera County, and Madera County includes the cities of the communities of Oakhurst and Coarse Gold, which are the entrance to Yosemite. You go into that area, and all you have is pot growing, and there's a reason for it. The Fresno Bee did a little story about the pot growing in Yosemite, and the farmer who's growing it, or one of the farmers, said, I'm making money. For 1 acre of pot, he makes $19 million. There are counties now that are selling permits, and cities that are selling permits in the Central Valley to pot growers if this passes. And they're already getting it planned. And they get a permit fee plus a cut of the sales. And they plan never to have bond measures again, never to have sales tax measures. It's all going to come out of the pot sales. And it's quite possible they could. At $19 million an acre, that is a lot of bond and sales tax increases gone by the wayside. But I'll give you the idea of the revenues of this. And it's already legal anyway. Prop 65 and 67 are together. Prop 67 is the ban, and I have to do this slowly because this is one of those yes means no and no means yes. If you vote yes on 67, you want to keep the statewide ban on plastic bags. If you vote no on 67, you want to get rid of the statewide ban on plastic bags. But you have to also understand that regardless of it being defeated, that enough no votes say no plastic bag ban statewide, if your city or your county has put a ban into effect, this doesn't affect it at all. So you go to LA County, most places you can't get a plastic bag. Go to Marin County or San Mateo County, no plastic bags. And there are a lot of other places like that around the state of California. And whether this passes or not doesn't matter. Those bans stay in place because they're local ordinances as opposed to a statewide measure that's being referendum. 65 is put up by the plastic bag industry. How did 67, which is the plastic bag ban, get past the legislature? Who were the lobbyists that paid for this? Who lobbied the legislature, who didn't really care? It was the grocery stores. Why? because it was determined that the grocery stores of California will be able to make pure profit of $700 million a year if there's a plastic bag ban statewide. So the plastic bag industry came up with Prop 65. The money from that goes to environmental causes. And I am an environmentalist, not a tree hugger. I'm an environmentalist. And I'm not usually one to favor giving money to private organizations using the people's vote. But this is about crony capitalists. This is about corporations buying votes in the legislature. And at some point we have to tell them, no, this doesn't work. You're not going to make a profit off of this. And I want to use Prop 65, which is what the plastic bag industry has done, to make an example of the grocery stores for other corporations to see you're not going to profit in the future if you try to buy votes in the legislature. And by the way, I need to apologize. You cannot buy a vote in the legislature. That's not true. I had a friend by the name of Assemblyman Bob Klein from the San Fernando Valley. And he was a long-term assemblyman from the LA area, and he taught me what I needed to know. The legislature can't be bought. They're like prostitutes. You only buy them by the bill. So that will give you an idea as to all of them. Now, one other factor, and then I'll talk about the electoral process. 65, I'm voting yes.
And 67?
I'm voting no. And the only two measures I'm voting yes on, to make it even easier, is 65 and 66.